Okay, guys. Welcome to another session of AWS Cloud Database Administration. As usual, my name is Martin. I'm a database cloud support engineer for Amazon Web Services, and as usual, I'll always be making these videos over the weekend to give back to the community, to share my knowledge that can contribute in troubleshooting, deployment, and kind of facilitate cloud database administration roles, and also helping others who are navigating towards their IT career. Okay. Yeah. So in today's objective, guys, we shall be looking at one critical part of RDS, which is I look at it like I find it to be very critical and very important for you to take special note when you are deploying your RDS instance, especially for the first time. And today we'll be looking at understanding RDS instance classes, right? And within this lesson, we'll be looking at I'll explain to you what an RDS instance class is. I'll be telling you the various components of an RDS instance class. Then I'll give you the tips and insights on what to consider when choosing an RDS instance class. Okay, and from there I'll give you some documentation. Yeah. So as you all know, your an RDS instance class, and it is like it is that section of your RDS instance that determines the computation power or the computation and memory capacity of your RDS instance class. Now, what do I mean by that? Like an RDS instance class, remember that particular RDS instance engine, maybe it's a SQL Server RDS instance or it's a Postgres RDS instance, has to run in an underlying EC2 instance. That EC2 instance could be called a virtual machine, right? Okay. So that like when you actually deploy an RDS instance, that instance or that particular engine is being deployed in an underlying host. That underlying host is an EC2 instance or a virtual machine which is being fully managed, controlled by Amazon Web Services. Is that okay? So that is why during the deployment of your RDS instance, AWS gives you the opportunity to choose the instance class, your RDS instance class. Like what what compute resources do you want for your RDS instance? Where the Postgres or the SQL Server operating system will be installed. What compute capacity do you want? What memory capacity do you want? What network capacity do you want for that underlying host? This is what determines the like compute resources of your RDS instance. Okay, so you must take this very critically, right? And you take special note about it because if you if you choose an RDS instance class that is not does not tie with the workload that you have, you are going to have issues with performance. If you have maybe a workload or maybe your workload or database activity that is memory intensive and you decide to choose a compute intensive instance, you're going to still have performance issue because your database activities are instant memory intensive. That is why making the choice on choose or on this RDS instance class is very critical as far as database administration is concerned. Okay, so let me show you um, in the RDS console where these instance classes are actually being selected. Okay, so in my RDS console, I choose RDS and Aurora. So let's say you go to create an RDS instance. So when you go to create RDS instance, let's select maybe Postgres. You'll be filling the information. You will select the information and you see you select storage, and the next thing you're going to select, sorry, um, oh yeah, so um, you see instance configuration, okay? Guys, this instance configuration, like this is the this is the most crucial and most important part of database instance allocation of resources. You must plan on this, like you must have capacity planning. You must actually know the kind of uh, uh, database activities you'll be having before selecting your RDS instance class, because each instance class gives you a certain, like, different compute capacity. That's vCPU, gives you different memory, gives you different networking. Okay, and some instances are burstable. Burstable meaning they can you can use you can accumulate credit and use those credits when you have high database activities. Then CPU will scale. Okay, so you must understand these instance classes in order to allocate instance resources for your RDS instance. Okay, so if you look critically, there are three. So you have the standard classes, right? That is M, okay? If you- Standard classes, that's M. Then you have the memory optimized classes, that is the R and the X. And you have the burstable classes, that is the T classes. So therefore mean that the very first thing a database administrator must understand, must know that, okay, RDS instance class types, you have the M classes for memory optimized. You have, sorry, for standard optimized, you have the R and the X classes for memory optimized, and you have the T classes for burstable instances. Is that okay? And each of these RDS instance has its own advantages and disadvantages depending on your database workload. Okay, so yeah, so however, guys, we are going to, in subsequent videos, I'm going to make detailed videos on each instance class. Right, I'll talk about the R classes, the X classes, the T classes, and the M classes. I'm going to explain advantages, when to choose, right? But the video for today is exclusively to give you like an overview of what an RDS instance class is. How do you identify an RDS instance? How do you look at an RDS instance class, or an RDS instance class, and actually you can grab more information, or you can actually get more information from the RDS instance class. Okay, so most importantly, you must understand how AWS label these RDS instance classes, right? So naturally, the instance class, like um, obviously it offers different compute, memory, and storage. Okay, and the syntax, like by default, how AWS labels them is that they, you have the DB instance class type and the size. Okay, this is for RDS. RDS instance are they are divided into, like, if you want to go into the syntax, you have the normal syntax that starts with DB. Okay, so all DB instance classes starts with DB. The syntax starts with DB. Then you have a dot. Then you have the instance class type, and you have the size. Okay. Now, within the instance class type, you may have issues like you have other issues like the generation. You may have other attributes attached to it. Okay, but all of these gives you the instance class type. Is that okay? Yeah, so it therefore means that when you see an RDS instance class, first you will see the first syntax, which is a DB for all RDS instance classes. Then you will see a dot. Then you see the T. The T stands for the instance class type. Okay, you remember on the console I show you the T classes. T classes were known as burstable instances. Okay, and these three, okay, this three stands for the generation. Other attributes may even be added. That's the generations. Okay, and the micro here stands for the instance size. What size? Like if I have a DBT3 micro, what I know as a database administrator is that, okay, I have a bustable third generation instance class, and the size is micro. Micro is like bigger than small, right? Um, sorry, micro instance like that. They are smaller than, because you have micro, okay, you have small, right? Then you have medium. Yeah. So within, like, when I see micro, micro is the smallest size of the T3 instance class, right? Is the smallest. After micro, you're going to have small. After small, you have medium. After medium, you have large. After large, you have extra large. After extra large, you have maybe two times large, three times large, and so on and so forth. That is how that is how AWS or RDS labeled its instance classes. Okay, so if I see an RDS instance, like, let's take the second example. If I see an RDS instance that is DBM7G 2 extra large, what happens is that what I understand is that, okay, this is an RDS. First is an RDS instance, right? It's an RDS instance class, and the instance class type is M, right? The instance class is M. That is, M stands, remember from our console, these ones are balance computation. Like they have balance in memory, like they have balance in memory at the same time compute, right? Um, Remember, guys, don't make an error to go to think that M is memory optimized. Memory optimized instance classes are R and X. Okay. Then you have seven. The seven here is a seven generation. Okay. And the G here is graviton. This is the graviton instance class. That, like, the processor uses this particular instance class uses the graviton 3 processor. Is that okay? So this I look at this to be very crucial and very important for database administrator or those working in the cloud to understand this in able to be able to deploy their RDS instances without any problem. Okay, so um yeah, so to add, you may have, for example, when you have your RDS instance class that is maybe DBM M7G, if you have another RDS instance, like another one, like, let's say is instead DB, let's say DB let's call this DB the same M7G dot, instead of two you have dot, you have X slash. Okay, this the reason why you have to you understand, you try to plan, you do capacity planning, is because there will be, as your enterprise is scaling, there will come a moment where maybe your IT your CTO, your chief technological officer, will be telling you, maybe how can we, like, um maybe start taking advantage of discount, how can we reduce costs. Now, if you had planned your capacity correctly, and you know that your earliest instances are being organized in a family and in a chronological way, You can take advantage when you have this kind of organization. You can take advantage of a reserve instance class, right? You can take advantage of reserve instance class. What do I Why do I say you can take advantage of reserve instance class? Because this particular instance is totally not different. This DBM7G is totally not different from this. It therefore means that this DBM7 M7G2X large is twice this. Sorry, it's like two of these DBM7X large makes of this, right? Mean that this is twice this. So if today I decide to get a reserve instance, okay, if I decide to get a reserve instance that is uh, DBM7 2X large, and anything something happens, maybe this particular instance is down, right? The discount will be applied to this to this same RDS instance class without any problem. But the fact is that the discount, like, just half will cover this, right? But if you have two of these RDS instance with DB M7GX large, if you have two of them, that particular one reserve instance here is going to cover all of this. It's okay. So that's why I'm seeing this capacity planning and resource planning to be very critical when you are selecting your RDS instance, or when you are moving, or when you are scaling. When scaling, do not just scale because you want to scale up, right? You scale in a way that if there is any, like, in a way, you do not just totally scale from out of an instance class, right? Like maybe someone will say, oh, I want to go to the R instance class. You should be very careful when you are making that decision on going to R instance class, okay? Because if you move to the R instance that's memory optimized, it's totally this one now is totally different from the M, which is the balance computation. Okay, so you need to understand this critically, guys, as I earlier explained. Okay, so yeah, so the video for today was just to kind of give you these details, and in my subsequent video I will go in depth into each instance class, each instance type. Like I will tell you, why do we use the T3? Okay, why did why what are the advantages of using the T3, the T instance, the T instance type, right? Why do at what are the advantages of using the M? What are the advantages of using the R and the X? Okay, so that will be my next video. Okay, yeah, so guys, when you select your RDS instance class, what happens? This RDS instance class is going to give you a certain number of vCPUs, okay? It will give you a certain number of vCPUs, and it will give you a certain capacity for your memory, right? Okay? And sometime it will give you capacity for your network. That's a throughput, okay? So it therefore means that your RDS instance class chosen is going to determine the compute capacity of your RDS instance, the memory capacity of your RDS instance, and the network capacity of your RDS instance. So it's very crucial for you to make that decision. And don't not to forget that these RDS instances are they are, some of them are very expensive, and their prices are based on their resource allocation, right? And if you have an RDS instance that has maybe 16 vCPUs, 32 GB of memory, I mean, that should be very expensive, right? So this understand I like the goal of this session is actually for you to first of all understand this syntax, okay? And yeah, guys, so yeah, so lastly, how how and when do we decide to choose a T class? Why do we use a T? Why do we use the M class? And why do we use the R and the X class? Okay, this is the decision where database administrators will be faced making this decision. Okay, it's very crucial. Okay, and guys, sorry, this will be like this is my target for the next video. Okay, so for those who are new to my channel, guys, welcome to my channel. And as I introduced myself earlier, my name is Martin. I'm a database class support engineer for Amazon Web Services, and this is my own way of giving back to the community. And you can always subscribe to my YouTube channel, and so much so that you, at any moment when I drop a video, you actually getting notified about the video. Okay, so in the next video, I'll be showing you the like the various scenarios that warrants you to go to make the choice of a T class, make the choice of using a the M class, and make a choice of using the R and the X class RDS instance. Okay. All right, guys. So if you have any question, please don't forget hit it in the comment section. I will either make a video on the question, or I will reply to you directly. Okay. Okay, guys. See you. Ciao. Bye bye.